Time for the Sheriff Sit-Down. Got two great guests in studio.
Yes, we do.
Sheriff Casey Salisbury and Ryan Spurling. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
How you guys doing?
Great.
Good to see you. We have, the end of the year, there's always little opportunities to look back at the year that was and say, man, there are some folks in our organization departments across everywhere, really, that have kind of went above and beyond, and awards time for these things is going on. This is kind of one of the topics today.
Kind of. Our awards on these particular ones aren't end-of-the-year awards. They're ones, especially on these, that they just happened. And for the next couple of weeks, we'll be coming in here and talking about some life-saving awards that were, I would say, received. They're not earned. They're things that happen to people in the field with no way to know that was going to happen that day. But people that really stepped up and went above and beyond the call of duty. And we actually have in our policies, and as the same as most all the offices, have a policy of what you need to have achieved or what you have done to actually earn that award or receive that award. So we have a number of those coming up, some life-saving awards that they're already been granted that we can talk about.
Oh, yeah,
Chief,
please.
you want to mention?
Sure, if I can, I'll give a little context, though, behind these awards. Let me give you an example of what they've been doing this year. Our guys on the streets have just been performing above and beyond. For 2015, for example, we had 18,661 911 calls that we responded to. In 2016, so you had 18,615. In 2016, we had 19,775. So it's gone up by at least 10,000. In 2017, we had 20,169. So our calls for service continue to go up every year. 2018, we're on schedule right now to be at 23 to 25,000 911 calls.
Highest call volume ever.
For service for our deputies, which the demand is bigger, yet they're doing more with less in some cases, especially this year. We had kind of the perfect storm. We had two deputies who ended up with their wives having babies. So they were off of work because their wives had babies. Then we had two deputies on leave for surgeries. And then we had two deputies that were injured on duty, one a knee and one an ankle, that were out. And then so you end up all of a sudden, you've got 6 people short.
Wow.
You've got this increased call volume, and then our people are still stepping up and doing some amazing things. And I'll read real quick to you what our policy describes as a life-saving medal, and we've got at least 5 or 6 of them this year. The life-saving medal is to be awarded to a deputy for saving a human life, intended for all deputies directly responsible for the saving of a human life. Documentation and other supportive evidence, such as statements from physicians, witnesses, and supervisors, should be included with the original recommendation. And it goes on about what the qualifications are. And you guys probably remember just a few weeks ago, on September 27th, we had that woman who was in a little bit of a mental crisis, and she'd gone up to the steel bridge.
Yes.
And she decided that she was going to jump off the steel bridge. We got the 911 call, and by the time we got up there, we had supervisor, sergeant up there, and then a detective sergeant arrived as well. The person that was on the outside rail of the bridge, there were 2 citizens that were sitting down who didn't know this individual, that were sitting down trying to talk to her, and she's on the outside rail of the steel bridge. And if you've ever been up there, it's a long ways down, and it's kind of it gives you a little vertigo just to stand near the rail, or at least it does to me. And she's standing there. When she saw uniformed officers, it kind of made her a little more agitated, like she was ready to jump, so they backed off. And one of our supervisors, Sergeant Jeff Rhodes, was in civilian clothes because he's a detective sergeant. He was able to work his way out, and between the 2 civilians and they talked to her for over an hour and a half and got her to come off the rail, come down, and we got assistance through telecare. Telecare people, we drove them up there, and they were right there to assist her, and it was pretty amazing. The deputies will do these type of things day in and day out, and we really like to celebrate it, especially when we're down staff and the call volumes are up.
In that situation, obviously, Detective Rhodes is not just talking to the person as if we're just having a conversation. There is educational background
Yes.
that he is able to kind of weave within the conversation. How much training is that? How many hours is that? And what kind of continuing practice do you
All
have
of
to
our
work
people,
on?
as you can recall, a few years ago, we really had made a request for this, and we were turned down initially. And a credit to Susan Rahr, the director of the State Training Commission. I went up there and asked if it was possible if they could come down here and provide the training, and we started sending our people through that, which was mandatory that everybody gets 8 hours. And I would tell you that in a number of these situations and others, since we've been through that training, the number of people, we've had a number of lives saved as a result. So all of our folks have at least 8 hours of training in that area, in mental health crisis training. And many, we have a number more that have had over 40 hours in addition to that, a week-long training working with mental health professionals. It's a tremendous amount of training, but it has paid off. Every one of these has been worth the effort we put into it.
When I used to go through my communication courses and we would have a specific speech or thing we needed to go through, if we got through, we started going, and if we made a misstatement or something that was inappropriate to the context, people would stop me and say, all right, nope, that was the improper word, start over. Are those the kind of things to get yourself so it's super automatic when you're talking? You don't want to say words that could be an agitator or something like that?
Definitely, yes. There are some words that would not help. But each one of these can be so different because it can be a different type of mental health circumstance or person with something. So you've really got to read that. So you can't have a scripted thing for every single person. It has to be a very, very different mode sometimes, depending on the circumstances, the environmental circumstances, or the distress that person's under, where they came from, what they may relate to you may change the circumstances. There's a whole bunch of different factors in there that you have to, you're on the spot handling it.
I want to give enough time to everybody who received these awards, but we're out of time this time, so we'll extend these out over the next couple of weeks.
Oh, absolutely. We have 7 different awards, which include civilians that were up there on that bridge. One of them happened to work for the Forest Service, and he was off duty, so he was the one that helped Detective Sergeant Rhodes. So.
Yeah, let's take the time.
We'll bring those
properly
names
needed,
directly up to you.
and we'll bring those out. That'd be good. Ryan Spurling, Casey Salisbury, good to see you guys.
Thank you.
Great to see you.
so
Thank
much
you.
as we start out the week here with the Sheriff's Sit Down on iFiber One News Radio.